Now we shift our attention to the other big story of the day. Massive judgment by the Supreme Court today in the controversial Chandigarh Mayoral polls. The CJI-led bench has found that the presiding officer is guilty of misdemeanor by deliberately defacing 8 ballots which were cast in favour of the AAP candidate, so that the other candidate, in this case the BJP candidate, be declared the elected candidate. The bench ruled that none of the ballots were defaced as claimed by the RO, and therefore they were all valid votes. The SC has declared the AAP candidate to be the elected candidate for the post of the Mayor of Chandigarh Municipal Corporation. The court also directed Judicial Registrar to issue a notice to Anil Masih, the indicted PO, to show cause as to why steps should not be initiated against him under Section 340 of the CRPC. Let me break down the massive order that has come from the Supreme Court today and the indictment of the presiding officer. First of all, they have said the presiding officer unlawfully altered the election results. The PO expressed falsehood in front of the court, so the court wants him to be held accountable and proceedings in that matter. They also went on to say that the results declared by the PO will be set aside, but setting aside the entire election will compound the destruction of the democratic principles. This was one of the petitions in front of them, that the entire election should be re-held. So they have said that the petitioner candidate, the AAP candidate, did receive 20 votes against 16. So he was validly elected to the post of the mayor. They are not setting aside the election and it will not be re-held as it stands today. The big question with this indictment of the presiding officer, is this not a big win for the AAP-Congress combined and a victory that has ramifications beyond Chandigarh?
माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सारे बैलेट पेपर मंगाए अपने पास, बैलेट पेपर खुद देखे और आज रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर कर दिया। ये मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय इतिहास के अंदर शायद पहली बार हुआ है। हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जिस तरीके से इस मामले में केंद्र सरकार को एक्सपोज किया है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि इतनी साफ गोई से किसी पार्टी की लीडरशिप कभी एक्सपोज सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हुई होगी।
First time the court has intervened in an election process which had been concluded and held that there was a serious irregularity in the election process conducted by the presiding officer.
सर कुछ कहेंगे आप?
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Siddharth Sharma from the Aam Aadmi Party. Desh Ratan Nigam is political analyst, leans towards the BJP. Hemant Attri, senior journalist from Punjab. Let me go across to Siddharth first. Siddharth, certainly you must be feeling vindicated. This is exactly what the Aam Aadmi Party has been saying all along, that there was malintent as far as declaring those 8 votes as invalid is concerned. But according to you, what is the import of this big win, legal win that you've managed today?
Yeah, Shivani, it's nothing to be happy about. It's a little bit sad today that Chandigarh has brought to open BJP's secret 8-point recipe to swindle people. Point number 1, appoint a BJP agent as an election officer and avoid appointing a neutral person. Then invalidate all votes against BJP. If not, then declare BJP as a winner. Then villainize anyone who complains of rigging. Then if you still lose, indulge in horse trading. When caught, try to brazen it out. Still lose badly as in Delhi, change law to assert power to yourself. Then again, if that also doesn't work, go brazenly further and stop others from doing work by jailing them. All the above are stated by the Supreme Court, nothing by me.
Not all of this was stated by the Supreme Court. Come on, don't attribute it to the Supreme Court.
Okay, let us not get into that. As a spokesperson,
we'll
I have
come to
my
that
right
later.
to defend.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially BJP is saying that let us turn Loktantra into Thoktantra. BJP is essentially shouting from the rooftop to assure its ecosystem that for them power is everything. But paradoxically, people vote for a government for service, not for power. This is a quintessential emperor is naked moment for BJP, a moment when its Pradhanji has to either own up or reject this modus operandi of stealing elections. Now, as far as ramification is concerned, it's now very clear that with this, Team India has proven that it is mathematically impossible for the BJP to win 2024. It's as simple as that. I think I've made my
I'm not
point.
sure if Punjab can be taken or Chandigarh polls can be taken as the measure of that. In Delhi,
You just said so.
For example,
You just said so
no,
in your
one
own-
second.
your
No,
own-
I
in your own
asked the
statement.
question whether it is a big win. But you know, in Delhi, for example, where AAP is in power, the BJP has more than 50% of the vote share. So whether the combine is going to be enough to beat them, that's a whole different story, Siddharth. Let's not go there. But I did ask you the question of what you think the ramifications are, and you answered as a party spokesperson. So no, no qualms there. But Desh Rattan Nigam, you know, this is the BJP. I don't know. They've refused to come on the show, but they will say, oh, we have nothing to do as far as this man. One second, Siddharth. They will say, we have nothing to do as far as this man's actions are concerned, and you know, whatever his indictment may be. But it does reflect badly on the BJP. They cannot escape that.
See, Shivani, let us be very clear. This is a very serious judgment, and first time such kind of a thing has happened. And Supreme Court took upon itself counting of votes, which is a rarity, and declaring a person as the winner, and therefore certain amount of responsibility has to be taken by the BJP. There is no doubt about it. And the fact that they took some corrective steps by removing him prior to the judgment. And it also appears BJP has also been taken for a ride. Somewhere I think BJP should investigate within itself internally as to how this happened. And the ramifications that you're talking about, I think Lok Sabha elections are always on a very different level as even compared to the state elections. So therefore, I don't think there will be any ramification. Yes, some soul searching has to be done by BJP as to why such kind of a thing has happened at their end, and especially such seriousness which the Supreme Court has noted about.
Yeah,
and
no,
the
ramification issue that I raise, as surely the judgment of the Supreme Court is going to reverberate outside of Chandigarh too. It may be a small mayoral election of Chandigarh, but the significance of the judgment, because the opposition parties, Desh Rattan Nigam, have been consistently saying, rightly or wrongly, but the political charge has been that elections are being fudged or somehow the processes are being sidelined to ensure BJP victories. That message gets strengthened by the verdict today.
Shivani, that may not be the case. This, I think, is an isolated, exceptional case which has happened, and responsibility has to be owned. There is no doubt about it. But the fact remains, not a single case where the BJP won or in Telangana Congress won, nobody is saying the elections has been fudged. Where in Rajasthan also they won once upon a time. Yes, the parties are in competitive politics. They try to increase their votes. Some do it positively, some do it negatively. But the fact remains, election in this country has been very transparent, fair. Even Aam Aadmi Party is sitting in Delhi is through the same electoral process for which they accuse everybody else. So therefore, what we do today is being very selective. Our elections process is very fair. This is one of those exceptional cases, and the Supreme Court has taken to task the person concerned.
Hemant Attri, what do you think? What is the import of this big judgment today?
Shivani ji, it's a red letter day as far as Indian judicial history is concerned. Let's be very clear about it. And what you were discussing is something very important, that what were the ramifications of this pan-India. One important ramification out of this judgment is no presiding officer or electoral officer will ever dare to do such a misadventure in the near future.
Absolutely.
That's the ramification.
And they should have CCTVs. One of the reasons why this man's conduct has come under question is because of the CCTVs.
Yeah, and furthermore, Shivani, let me tell you one more thing. See, the way it has happened, it's again a historic one. Within 20 days of filing a SLP in the highest court of this country, you are getting a judgment. It's again historical. See, what happens? You or me, once we lose an election and we go for an election petition in a high court, you know what happens? The term of the winner, the so-called disputed winner, is over, and then still you don't get the justice. This is an exceptional case, and the judiciary should be saluted for it. This is point number one. Number two, it also, indicates of some bigger malice in the whole system. The way this gentleman was playing with the law of this country. This gentleman who was the presiding.
But can I ask you, Hemant Attri, one of the questions in people's mind is why would this man, Mr. Masih, dare to do what he did, knowing fully well that his actions are being caught on camera? How did he have the bravado to fudge an election like this?
If you go by the background of this person, he is belonging to a Dalit minority, and he belongs to BJP's minority cell also. He was an active member of that. He was an office bearer also. So he can't do it without a purpose. There must be some invisible hand. It may be from the state party unit or from somewhere. Otherwise, he was neither contesting it or he had no personal vested interest as far as this Anil Masih.
And do you buy his argument, just to play devil's advocate? His lawyer in the court said that, see, he marked all ballots in various ways. Some he folded the top corner, some he put a dot, and these 8 votes where he put a single line at the bottom was because he found them to be invalid. Now, you could argue his judgment was wrong, but you cannot prove that he did it intentionally.
No, it was particularly done intentionally, and he tried to mislead Honorable Supreme Court also. And Supreme Court has noted in his order that he tried to misguide them. Yesterday only, while he was appearing before the Honorable. While appearing before the Honorable Supreme Court, you know what he said? All these papers, these ballot papers, they were defaced.
Yes, but they didn't find any proof of any defacement.
Honorable CJI just presented it to the whole courtroom where it is defaced. And this gentleman and his advocates had no face left with. So there is something more that meets the eye as far as this particular case is concerned, Shivani. And see, it's a red letter day again, I'm saying. Why? Because democracy is strengthened by this. I don't know whether this party wins or that party wins. I'm not into that business. The most important thing is we have a vibrant democracy.
And there are checks and balances, right? The Supreme Court did check this.
Precisely. And I salute the judiciary for this day. But the way they have taken a judgment, the way they have decided it, and the timeline is very important, Shivani ji. If the country has to be a progressive, developing nation, and rightly so all across the world, this is a red letter day today. That's what I mean to say.
But you know, Siddharth, Devshatam Nigam made an interesting point. To use this, or even before this, before Chandigarh Mayor polls held and this happened, you've been making an argument, some parties have been making an argument that institutions have been, their powers have been, diluted. There are questions over the EC, EVMs, etc. But you've won one, Delhi election 3 times now. You won in Punjab, Congress has won in Telangana, they recently won in Karnataka, Mamata Banerjee won big in West Bengal in the last state elections. So is it fair on the part of the opposition parties to malign the Indian electoral system when you're winning too?
Yeah, the simple analogy is there was a match in which Australia was playing and one of its batsmen, his name was Hughes. He was put a bouncer and he got killed by that bouncer. Yet Australia won that match. So does it mean that just because you win, how much bloodshed are you going to go through? My point is very simple.
That wasn't intentional. Come on, don't use that. Don't use Phil Hughes' death in such a manner. It was a very unfortunate incident.
Exactly. You cannot bowl body line. That's what my point is, that you cannot bowl body line bowling. In politics and sports, there is absolutely no place for bloodshed. You have to play fair, and BJP has not been playing fair. How?
So that's the question I asked, right? You've won elections by the same EVMs. Is it fair to then keep saying that when BJP wins, it is corrupted, when we win, it is honest?
No, I'll answer that. But I'd like to highlight one thing in this program when you said so. BJP not coming on national television on such a landmark judgment day goes to show that for BJP, nation comes second and BJP comes first. This is a primetime channel from CNN News18 and BJP has skipped it. And both the political analysts and the senior lawyer here, both of them have absolutely no affiliation with AAP, but still they are saying that this is a landmark.
You didn't answer my question.
I'll come to that. How did we get to this point of today? First, BJP did not go ahead with mayoral elections. We had to go to the High Court to fight it out and get the election.
Siddharth, very trickily you're coming back to the mayoral election. I asked you a larger question. The same system, electoral system, is electing opposition parties in states too. Just because you're not winning nationally does not mean you have the right to question Indians' electoral system.
We did not question India's electoral system, we questioned the BJP. If you go through my earlier statement, it's very clear that when the BJP loses badly, like in Delhi, they change the law and usurp the power to itself. What we are saying is not about the judiciary or the system, but BJP. And even then, if they are not able to stop, this is not just about Delhi. You see Tamil Nadu governor, you see Kerala governor, you see the West Bengal governor, you see Punjab governor. Everyone is trying to put roadblocks. If BJP
but elections are free and fair in this country, you will concede that much at least?
BJP is not letting the elections free and fair in this country. That's what the Supreme Court has today said.
That's not what the Supreme Court has said.
Exactly, that's what Supreme Court said.
No, I don't think you should attribute.
BJP tries to rig it, and Supreme
Siddharth, shouting is not going to help.
Red letter day is today.
Siddharth,
this is what I'm saying.
Siddharth, shouting is not going to help. Please do not attribute statements the Supreme Court has not made. Can you please lower his fader? Please do not attribute statements that are not made by the Supreme Court to the Supreme Court. It is my responsibility to point out the Supreme Court has not said that. Please don't do that. Deshratham Nigam, I have final 30 seconds. Your response to what Siddharth has said.
See, the fact is, you don't do any, furtherance of democracy when you get selective. The very same electoral process and institution, if they don't go in your favor, you start attacking them. However, even the Supreme Court was attacked by opposition parties when they did not get judgments in their favor, and they started questioning. Therefore, let us uphold. If the incident is wrong, call it a spade a spade. This incident was wrong, and the man has been caught red-handed, and the Supreme Court has said so. BJP has removed him. That's also something you should give credit to the BJP. BJP, let me tell you again, has been taken for a ride here in this, and they must have some kind of an internal investigation as to how this has happened. So therefore, our institutions are robust, working very fine. They are upholding the institutions, whether they are CBI, ED or any institution. Let them work. We have checks and balances. Supreme Court is there if you have any problem. High courts are there. So let us have faith in our democracy. Let's not make a general statement attacking all the institutions.
All right, I leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Slipping into a very short break, we'll get you some more news and updates. Particularly, another controversy seems to be brewing as Rahul Gandhi's yatra is going along UP. We'll get you more in just a bit.